Hello, my dear viewers. A very warm welcome to all of you. Today we will discuss the biography of the famous writer Robert Burns. Robert Burns, 1759-1796. Scottish poet, songwriter, farmer, exciseman or tax officer. Major identity: the Bard of Ayrshire, the ploughman poet, or simply the Bard, the national poet of Scotland. Language include he wrote both in Scots dialect and also English. Robert Burns was born in a clay cottage at Alloway near Ayr, Scotland. His parents, William Burns, that is Barnes, a poor tenant farmer, and Agnes Burns, a pious and a loving mother. Robert Burns was the eldest of 7 children. The family lived in deep poverty, but valued education and moral integrity. The family's constant struggle with a harsh weather, poor soil, and a debt made Robert Burns familiar with the toil of rural life, experiences that shaped his empathy for the poor and his poetic realism. Agnes Burns sang folk songs and ballads to her children, nurturing Robert Burns' love for music and oral poetry. His father, William Burns, wrote a manual of moral instruction and taught his children with a depth and a seriousness. Robert Burns attended a small Adventist school in Alloway under tutor John Murdoch, where he learned English grammar, French, and the Bible. He was deeply influenced by the rhythms of folk speech and song traditions, which shaped his unique poetic voice, blending high art and a peasant life. Robert Burns' learning was self-directed. He once said, "The cheerless gloom of a hermit with the unceasing toil of a gallery slave described his youth." Robert Burns initially worked as a farmer alongside his father, and later as an independent farmer at a Muskegon and a Ellisland. Later he became customs and an excise officer to earn a steady income. His romantic life. Burns had numerous romantic relationships. His passion and emotional openness made him both admired and criticized. His most famous love was Jane Armour, whom he eventually married in 1788 after several turbulent years. Other women include Highland Mary or Mary Campbell, to whom he wrote some of his most touching love poems. He fathered 12 children, both legitimate and illegitimate. His religion. Though raised a Presbyterian, Robert Burns was critical of religious hypocrisy and a clerical dogmatism, favoring instead a spiritually grounded attitude in nature and a human goodness. Robert Burns' main works include poems chiefly in the Scottish dialect, 1786. His first and most famous collection, published in Kilmarnock, established him as a national poet overnight. Included masterpieces like To a Mouse, The Cottage Saturday Night, Holly Billy's Prayer, To a Mountain Daisy, The Twa Dogs, The Vision. The song include All the Lang Syne. There is the world-famous song of friendship and remembrance, sung every New Year's Eve. A Red Red Rose, a timeless love lyric full of tenderness and melody. A Fond Kiss, a poem of farewell and heartbreak, written for Agnes MacLehose, that is Clarinda. Scott Wahay, a patriotic song imagined as a speech by Robert the Bruce before the Battle of Bannockburn, became an unofficial Scottish national anthem. My heart's in the Highlands, a man's a man for a that. And many other reflected his democratic ideals and a love of freedom. Holy Billy's Prayer is a satire on religious hypocrisy. The Holy Fair exposes false piety among Scottish churchgoers. Addressed to the Dale is a humorous yet a profound reflection on evil and superstition. His key themes include love and passion. Burns wrote some of the world's most heartfelt love poems, often inspired by real women. Nature. Deep empathy with nature, seen as living, moral and divine. Equality and human dignity. Belief that all people, regardless of class, deserve respect, captured in the poems like A Man is a Man for a That. Patriotism and national identity, pride in Scottish heritage, folklore and a dialect, satire and religion, criticism of clerical hypocrisy and a social injustice, freedom and a democracy. Burns admired the American and French revolutions and celebrated human liberty. Common life, celebration of rural laborers, simple joys and the moral strength of ordinary people. His literary styles, language, combined Scots dialect with standard English, giving a musical and earthy texture to his poetry. His form frequently used the traditional ballad meters, couplets and songs. Tone is a warm, humorous and humane, mingling wit, realism and a deep emotion. Symbolism. Everyday objects like a mouse, daisy or plough become a universal metaphor for life and a struggle. Influence. He revised the Scottish vernacular literature and linked it with the Enlightenment humanism. Political and social engagement. Democratic sympathies. Burns admired the ideals of the French Revolution, liberty, equality and fraternity. Social critic. His poems often attack a class hierarchy, church corruption and a moral hypocrisy. Friend of the common people. Burns saw himself as a voice for the peasantry and the laborers. Government service. Ironically, while sympathetic to revolutionary causes, he worked as an exercise officer for the British Crown, a tension that haunted him. Humanitarian spirit. His belief in a universal brotherhood shines in his line, like man to man, the world over, shall brothers be for that. National poet of Scotland. His birthday, that is January 25th, is celebrated worldwide as Burns Night or Burns Supper, with a recitation of his poetry, haggis and a whiskey. He inspired romantic poets like Wordsworth, Coleridge, Shelley and Keats. He influenced the American writers such as Walt Whitman, John Steinbeck. Abraham Lincoln memorized many of Burns' poems and quoted them in his speeches. His poem, Auld Lang Syne, recognized as a global anthem of humanity. Burns was initially planning to emigrate to Jamaica to work on a plantation before fame from his poems saved him. His poem, titled To a Mouse, inspired the title of John Steinbeck's novel, Of Mice and Men. He died in 1796 because of heart disease and a rheumatic fever.